Would you rather see the world in black and white or have the voice of a little girl?
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think a voice of a little girl would really match me very well.
Can you do a little girl's voice? Not to tangent, but voice acting is like it's part of something you can do. Can you do it? Can you invoke?
Yes, but not right now.
Okay.
I'll wait for the role, and then I will literally send you that role, and I'll be like, "Hey, Houston, it's because of your podcast, man. I booked the little girl role."
He's a grown man. Yeah, he's not gonna grow up on us, and he can do it so perfectly. We have to book him now.
So good, so good.
We have to stick together and to make this movie together. We're a family. All right, I'm sorry, I'm done. That's
So good.
Close the door. All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 1000 Crazy Questions, the podcast. I'm your currently sane host, Houston Pierce. This is a podcast where we have on at least one guest a week and ask some series of crazy would you rather questions. We get into the psyche of our guests, explore topics and questions that maybe should not have been explored.
Okay, let's get into the episode this week. This week we have with us filmmaker, actor, dream-chasing New Yorker, fourth-degree black belt. You can find him in his new role as Fabian in a new film somewhere in Montana. Please welcome Matt Drago. Matt, if you want to introduce yourself to listeners.
Houston, that was honestly the best introduction I could have ever asked for. Really excited to be on your show. I caught the acting bug really early. Since I can remember, 4 years old, I was that kid that didn't need a lot of action figures, just needed my own mind, my own thoughts, my own creativity to make things happen. I get asked this all the time, like, when did you catch the acting bug? I think it was born inside me. I think there's nothing greater than telling good stories that mean something. And I'm really looking forward to getting into it this episode with you and talking all about it.
Awesome. Thanks. If I can harp on that acting bug thing real quick. So a question I've always had, and maybe you've gotten this before, maybe you haven't, but is there such thing for you as like too much acting, like an overact, like you see some people in acting roles and they like push the envelope. People call it overacting, where they really ham it up. And some roles want you to do that, and some roles you have to be more restrained. Do you think, in your experience, there is such thing as even like too much acting, as they overacted? Do you think that's even a thing, or is it what the script or that person, like character that's trying to embody, like requires? If that question makes sense.
No, that's a fantastic question. The way I look at it is it's whether you are connected to the material, and you have to do it in the way that makes sense to you. There are a lot of different genres. You could be in a drama, you could be in a comedy, it could be over the top, it could be very grounded. The tone is really important for an actor to discover when they are doing their work as an actor. I think that there are certain times as an actor, and we'll get into it a little bit more with my film that I have out right now somewhere in Montana, where you give yourself the ability to, if you can feel connected with the words, maybe take the risk of quote unquote being big. Because the reality is, if you're big, but you're connected to those emotions and you're truly feeling them and expressing them, then it's still grounded. So I think a lot of people sometimes don't understand that there are big actors out there, and there are fantastic big actors out there, but they're grounded to the material. What you're saying, I think, in many times is when an actor isn't connected to the material and they haven't done the work, right? And whatever that work is for them. I mean, my work is I love doing backstories. I'm a little bit of a method actor in the good ways, where I like to feel myself in the body of the character. So if that means that I have to lose weight or gain weight, put on muscle or lose muscle, like those are the types of things that are meaningful to my process. But if you're grounded to the material, truly grounded to the material, and you've done the work, then I don't think there is any such thing as being too big.
Man, great answer. In the movie, somewhere in Montana, is there a part where you could recall easily, like, oh yeah, that was my moment? Like, if there's a strip of, like, just sort of a demo reel of, like, if I had to show this to someone, if like it's a big monologue where you have to go big. I haven't seen the movie yet, but is there that piece that you can automatically think of? Oh yeah, that was the moment where I would show this to someone. This is like that moment, like the shining moment, essentially, for your acting. Like, this is a good, I don't know what I'm trying to say, piece, demo reel to show off.
Yeah. Again, a great question. I think my character has a big arc in Somewhere in Montana. My tempo is very high. It's very fast paced. I'm a city guy. And so I'm coming into a Montana rancher's world. So, to answer your question, it's hard to say with this film specifically because my character goes through so many dynamic changes. But personally, the scenes that stick out for me are when Fabian Verdugo, my character in Somewhere in Montana, really starts to reflect and he starts to see his side, but he also starts to let the other side in, which is John Alexander, played by my incredibly talented friend, Graham McTavish. So I look at it where there are certain scenes, I would say specifically, if you're looking at those scenes, we have a 10-page scene that's just Graham and I, where it's a conversation. And I think that scene felt so grounded to me because of all of the conversations that we had preceding the scene, where Graham and I became friends and we, got to know each other as people. And when you can do that as two actors and really just kind of, grab breakfast together, have conversations, sometimes not even about acting, you build that chemistry, you build that camaraderie, because again, you both want to tell the story as well as you can. And so I think a lot of those conversations that I had with Graham made that very rare 10-page scene. Because again, there are not a lot of 10-page scenes that are with two characters in modern day cinema. And I felt like a lot of this conversation that we had that was authentic, it was genuine, came from the conversations that we allowed ourselves to have as Matt and Graham. So to answer your question, I would say that is a scene that I will forever hold dear to my heart. I have another scene. I actually have two other scenes that come to mind right now. One is when I'm on set and I'm doing my work. And my friend Tasha Gates, who is a rising star in the industry, she just actually had a premiere and her family came out to support her. And she's my lead actor in the film within the film. And we sat down to coffee for about 2 hours before we'd even gone to set. And we just talked about this rich scene. And it's a scene where the director is really trying to pull it out of the actor because he knows that it exists within the actor. He just needs the actor to breathe and center themselves. And I just love that scene so much because of the relationship that I have with Tasha and how, again, we built that out together like I did with Graham. And then the third one that comes to mind is my friend Andrew Roa, and it's a bar scene. It's a pivotal scene in my character where the massive, I would say, tempo of my character shifts. It's a great scene, and he actually is a really great friend now. He's kind of become like my golf buddy. So he's kind of like my real life Bob character. When you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. In real life, just that calming presence. And Andrew is that in my own life. So when you're saying like favorite roles, favorite characters, I mean, I will say that this one in totality is a role and a movie that I have always dreamed of doing because it's a big story and it's a meaningful story and it's something that needs to be told, especially in the times that we're in right now as a country. It's moments like these that make me proud to do what I love in acting.
Well said. Well said. And like especially most of those scenes you mentioned, like the beforehand, before you actually went and filmed them, is what makes the scene like shine in your mind. It's the coffee, it's the talk beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
behind
absolutely.
the scenes chemistry. Yeah.
It's like everything in life. It's
Yeah.
camaraderie, right? It's people. It's not things. It's relationships. It's having the relationships be so airtight that nothing can break through them, right? I mean, you have some friends in your life where like you could say one word to them and they would know exactly how you feel, right? And that is kind of in a nutshell what the two characters in this film are trying to do. They're trying to break through the ice so they can actually really start to see each other because they are so different, because they do disagree on so many things. And especially this day of all days, I think we need to like really like harp on that. We need to lean in on acceptance. We need to lean in on mutual respect because in my mind, it's the highest form of love. And when you can give that to somebody, you start seeing them as a total person. You start to see all of their strengths and all of their flaws. And this film does such a powerful job of seeing this. This is a conversation starter piece. This is a politically charged film. This is a socially charged film of the times. And I'm just so proud to be, just advocating for people to see it far and near, because again, these are the films that when I think of being an actor growing up that could make change. This is the dream for me. This is why I always got into wanting to tell stories like this.
Bravo. And again, congratulations on making your film. And I hope you're ready to talk about some more stupid topics, because that's what you made something meaningful. Now I wanted to show up, make some meaningless stuff with you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Let's go. It's your show. Let's go.
Audience, here are the rules of the game.
There are 2 rules to this game/conversation. Rule number 1, you must always answer the question no matter what. If you honestly have no preference towards one or the other, you say the phrase, flip a coin, and we move on. Rule number 2, whoever asks the question doesn't have to answer it if they choose not to. These rules exist because as questions become harder to answer, these rules become harder to follow.
This week, we have a purple band episode, I think. It's kind of reddish blue, I don't know, stick around if PG-13? I don't know what age you are, but there's blue episodes that are safer, there are red episodes that are more raunchy, and I encourage you to stay right here. They're just as encouraging, ridiculous, insightful as they may or may not be. Matt, just to remind you, if you have any questions for me during the game, you're never interrupting, and we go back and forth. If you have any variations to the questions I've asked, it's conversational podcast. You know the rules. I have to answer whatever you ask me. Quick but important disclaimers to the listeners. Everything is hypothetical. If you are offended by this episode, sorry, you can at me. I may or may not answer. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. And lastly, before we begin, is there anything you'd like to ask or declare? Are there any inherent/mental biases you may have?
No, I like this. This is why I got on your show. I think this is a great idea, man. So let's play the game. This will be fun.
All right, cool. Let's step on some toes. Would you rather? First, lighthearted question. Would you rather be illiterate or deaf?
Ooh.
And both of these we're going to assume are permanent. So there's no hearing aid workarounds or I can relearn to read and write. It's these are both permanent conditions.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Old school, classic.
I would say illiterate because I still could see, that wouldn't take away my ability to see things, even if I couldn't read. And just hearing conversations like we're having right now. I would never give that up. I would never give up music. I would never give up podcasts. I would never give up human expression. And I think your ears are a great way to take that in. Listening is honestly one of the most powerful things that we can do as a people, really. Right. And so to give that up, there's no way I would give that up upon my free will.
Got it. Especially when you say music, that really does push the envelope on that way. That makes sense.
100%.
Yeah. You know what? All right, dang it. Music clinches it. I agree with you. I don't know if I can even think of it. Losing music is ridiculous. Do you play an instrument?
Well, of a day like today, I will say I posted, I haven't really been singing a lot since I left New York City. And I remember one of my acting teachers, who's a Broadway acting teacher, Michael Levine, saying this. And it was so beautifully, the way he said it, it was just a fact. He said, when you can no longer speak, that's when you sing. And I loved that because it really kind of shows you the power that comes behind the human voice. And so I kind of wanted to speak on that because of the day, right? It's a massive day in our U.S. history, right? And so
I have to say it too, so the audience knows this is because this will come out a bit later, but this is Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Coincidence?
Yeah. Yes.
But
a holiday.
Boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Yeah.
Yes.
So you were saying,
Well, and again, I was raised in rural Virginia. A little bit about my backstory. I was raised by a Black man. He was a father. He was my stepfather. He was my best friend. He passed away a couple years ago, but my best friend. Thank you. It was devastating. And I carried a lot of him with me in this film. And when I think about this day specifically, this is honestly one of the most important holidays on the calendar for me personally. And I don't know, I'm a white guy. So what am I doing saying that? But it is because I was shown so much love, so much compassion growing up by Chaz, my stepfather, and Dwayne Jackson, my best friend, who Was one of the rare Black kids in my school growing up. And we just bonded right away. And we bonded through singing. We bonded through voice. We both were musical theater kids. And I would go and I'd be like the only white guy at like his family reunions. And I always felt like family. I always felt like family. And so I think that kind of speaks to the day that we're in and the togetherness that we need to feel, that we are not alone, that there are people out there like me, or, that just see people as people, and it should just be so easy. But like, this is one of the days on the calendar that I always have the most feelings, honestly, honest to God, because of what it means to me, because of my backstory. So yeah, I think it's good to point out that this is a massive day in our country, and yeah, I think I wanted to bring that up today, because those are two people in Chaz and Dwayne that are a really big part of my life and who I am.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up. That's it. That's definitely huge. And I think I don't want to say irony, but I do want to say it's bigger than coincidence. I don't know that it's inauguration and Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and with the nominee being who it is, the new president-elect, it is
jarring.
It's like
to me.
I don't know, for like everyone. I think a lot of people.
Well
I would
said.
say a lot of people. Yeah, I would say a lot of people. Even people I think
said.
voted. Even people who voted for him are kind of like, what's happened? Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating 4 years. Yeah, and I only say this. I'm smiling while I'm saying this, but it's very jarring. Yeah, and the only reason I think I have any sort of levity at all is sort of just be like, well, it's out of my hands. I think personally, not to go on a tangent here, but I'm one of those people who, when you're on an airplane and you see it like starts to go down, or, that if your airplane's rattling, and everyone has that thought, am I going to die today? And like, your plane might crash. I'm one of those people who like, well, I guess if I'm dying in this plane, like I'm not the pilot, and if the pilots did burn to be knocked out, I couldn't fly a plane. So things that are in my control, I try to not to freak out about. So I try things that are in my control, that is. And that's not to say that I don't forget about things that sometimes are on my control, but in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing I can do to stop that plane. There's nothing I can do, at least currently, to help this country. So, or, at least currently. But if it's in my control, I freak out way more. So yeah, I kind of just lean back on my faith and go, hey, God's got this. And I just, not in a flippant way, like, people often say, pretty cheaply, Jesus, take the wheel, and like they just kind of F it, But when it comes to something as big as this, it's kind of like, when, what, I'm going to have to keep doing what I can do. I'm going to be a passenger in this plane, Luckily, though, it's a country, not a plane. I can't get out. I mean, yeah, we're going to see what happens. And depending on when this episode specifically hits, the people listening will know more than we both know about what the state of the country is and like what has happened. But yeah.
That was powerful.
Yeah.
That was really well said. Well done, man. Yeah.
I don't know. Speaking of power, to get back to this. Oh, this is so just.
You had me tearing up, by the way.
Juxtaposition.
That was beautiful.
This is really juxtaposition, what we're doing right now. Would you rather not be able to lie ever again about anything, or not be able to laugh? Even if you find something funny, you will not like mechanically laugh. The best you can do is a smile.
I think laughter is so healing. I don't think I could ever give that up. I think right now, even as I was watching you, that what really was powerful, what you just did. I hope you know that.
Well, thank you. I don't know, but
no, but I was just seeing your face, and I don't know if this is going to be on video too, but through a lot of that, you were smiling, and you were laughing, and I know what that laugh means, right? I think it's sometimes the only way, right? When I think about me and my life, and I think about the release that you need sometimes, there's nothing more powerful than a laugh. There's nothing more powerful than just letting those like emotions out of you, right? And there is something just joyous in just laughing. Like it does just put you just a little bit more at ease, right? It doesn't solve all the problems, but it gives you a little bit, a moment of breath, right? And I'm really like reflecting on that just beautiful thing that, I mean, that your work, you just said it so perfectly just then, and you were laughing through most of it. And I do. It's funny that that's the follow-up question that you have, because it's like, right, we're both laughing right now, and we're both probably not okay in some ways, right? But something about laughing just kind of gives you that momentary relief and the ability to move forward past it.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. And not to change the subject at all, but have you seen the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
That's one of my favorites growing up. Oh, I could watch that movie on repeat still. I love it so much.
Yeah, right. It's great. It's this great movie. There was this one line, and I think it's Roger saying it to, oh God, what's his name? Bob Hoskins. And he's saying, well, Bob Hoskins' character, by the way, he's saying it to Bob Hoskins, and he's like, he's asking, what, like, why do you always tell jokes, or like something about laugh? He's irritated by Roger, and Roger's like, sometimes laughter's the only thing we have, or whatever, and like, in his goofy voice. And the movie's actually very poignant on that. It's actually there's actually a lot going on in that movie. I mean, like, it's I mean, there's like, undertones of like racist segregation between tunes and people and everything. Like, they're second class citizens, that whole thing going on. And then also, to a tune, laughter is the most important thing, because they're meant to make people laugh. And like us being people, like attraction is kind of a bigger thing. That's why Jessica Rabbit, she's like this knockout woman. And everyone's like, whoa. And it's like, why are you with Roger? He makes me laugh. And like, that's actually a big thing. And like, there's this, I was watching this other guy, I can't take credit for noticing this, but there was this guy, I was watching a video breakdown. I'm rambling now. There was this video breakdown on YouTube where someone remembered that Betty Boop was talking to Hoskins, like when Betty Boop's like a cartoon he likes, and she's like, yeah, Jessica's coming out, what a lucky goyle, right? And she's walking by, and that's really weird. He's she's lucky for being with Roger, and you realize because Roger's really funny. Into a tune, funny is where it's at. Yeah. And so I don't know, you saying that brought that memory to my mind, and that was a long tangent. So
no, it's beautiful, because what you're saying is that, like, laughter is his power, right? And laughter is his gift. And he gives that gift onto the people, that he actually gives that gift to everybody, right? And there are certain people that see it as his true power. It's like what he can give off. It's almost the way I feel like as an actor, right? It's like, I feel like my best contribution to this life while I have it, right, while I'm on this planet, is to tell stories that matter. Now, whether that be dramatic or comedy, either way is fine. But for me, like, I feel the same way as Roger in many ways, because it's that ability to spark joy and to spark introspection. And from those feelings, like, I always say this, I feel like people are at their best when they're feeling, whether it's happy, whether it's sad, if it's genuine feeling, like positive, genuine feeling, right? And we're in touch with those positive, genuine feelings. I think that there's a way forward for us. And I think that laughter is a big feeling that can bring people together. So again, I think you said it so perfectly. It is a great movie. And you actually opened my mind to it even a little bit more today, because Roger's, charisma and his power is in that he brings people together and he makes them laugh. And how beautiful is that? And that's all kind of, in a nutshell, what we need right now in this moment of time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's the only tool you have. Yeah. Yeah. You said it helps us process the world or, big topics. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, to keep writing this, speaking of which, this like super.
Yeah. Let's go. I like it.
Tangibly big stuff we're going after. Would you rather be the best actor to have ever exist, or pick 3 countries to permanently save from poverty? Just, magically they will no longer need food or water and like all those necessities that basic human beings need. Just magically. It doesn't matter if it's an economic issue, geological, if they're at war, it doesn't matter. Just magically. So which one would you go with?
That's an easy one. I would absolutely help the three countries and take their pain away.
Dang
100%.
it. Yeah. I was like, oh, dang it. As I was speaking, I was like, he's probably going to pick this country one.
I
It's too
will
much.
say, like, honestly,
Yeah.
for a lot of the actors that I know, the dream has always been to be a working actor, to feed their families, to leave behind a couple good stories. I know a couple people that are quote unquote famous or big or whatever. It can be great in some ways, but it's not great in others, right? So I think when we talk about like big things, right, it's like I feel like acting is my contribution. But between those two things, I mean, no question in my mind, like if I could take pain away from three countries, I mean, think about how huge that is. Think about how many people that would impact. Like if I could do that literally just by snapping my fingers right now, no question.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. Just to be a heel, if it was one country, would you still pick it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine. I'm trying to get you to be selfish here, but no, it's a good.
You know, that's actually funny though. That's a great topic because actors in my like it, and I would be honest with you right now on this podcast, right? Because we're being real with each other right now.
Yeah.
Actors are some of the most selfless people I've ever met. Like honest to God, and I would tell you, like Graham, like what he gave me as quote unquote like maybe the up and coming unknown actor in the time that he gave me. It was just so selfless. Like he gave himself to a friendship with me. We bonded. You know, Michelle Hurd, what a lover of actors, right? And she's done massive things. She was in the biggest movie last year. Like she's in Picard right now. Like she's wonderful. Her and her husband, Ben Garrett, Dillahunt. I mean, they are phenomenal human beings. They're selfless. They care about actors. And the more that you hang around sets, you start to see that because again, what most people see are the red carpets and people celebrating their wins. And we have to do that as actors because a lot of times you have to do that to try to get your next job. You have to do that to try to help your agents and your managers promote you to get to the next job. But the next job for you is something that you want just so you can keep doing what you love. And so I think that's a really great question that sparked a conversation because actors, hand to God, are some of the most selfless people I've ever met. And if you started to meet and interact with more and more of them, you would absolutely know what I'm saying by that.
And yeah, well said. No, I don't know too many actors. I mean, I've interviewed a couple, and I don't know any. Do I know any personally? No, I don't know any personally. No, not at least not too personally, I should say. But yeah,
it's really hard when you're looking from the outside in, right? Because it's like you see people on the red carpet, you look at the glam, you look at the this, the that. Mm-hmm. That's not what's important to most actors. Most actors are like me. Like I look at like my life and I'm like, can I leave a couple good stories behind that matter? Can I like affect change in the world? Like, and again, maybe it's not big change. It's not like I would be able to take away poverty and hunger away from three countries, which I would love to do. I mean, that would be a dream amongst dreams, right? But my contribution to this life feels like it's what I have in my bag of tricks, right? And I do think that a lot of actors feel the same way, where it's this outward in thing where you're looking at the Instagram and you're looking at the red carpet and you're even looking at podcast interviews like we're doing right here. But the reality is most actors just want to tell good stories and they just want to do it with people that they care about. You know, I'll tangent really quickly. This film, Somewhere in Montana, we were a family. And I don't mean just the cast and the crew. Like we were all telling a story that was bigger than all of us. And we would go out to dinners together. We would go on hikes together. Like we would grab breakfasts and dinners together. It was just because we felt like we were telling a story that was bigger than all of us and it was important to all of us. And that's why actors get into acting, is for those moments.
Well said. Well said. No, I think it's obvious anyone who's been watching for 2 seconds that you're a very caring and honest guy, which is part of the reason why I have to ask you this terrible question.
Let's go.
If you had to get rid of one U.S. state and just wipe them off the map, which state are you picking?
Now you're killing me, dude. Man, we're just. Sorry.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Okay, obviously, no one's going. If he picks your state, don't worry. You're not going to be eviscerated. It's all hypothetical. You're fine. Sorry. If you want to bust out the coin for maybe if you have two in your head, take it out of your hands. We can do that.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I've been to most of the states, and
that makes it even better.
Yeah, and there are good people in all of these states in this country. There really are. I really, really believe that. Some of them might not see things the way that I do or you do, but there are truly good people in every state in this country, people that have become very close friends, even in the states where maybe I don't politically or socially align with. Some of my best friends live in those states, and it's those states that made them who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So respectfully, I don't have an answer for you for that one. And I mean that in that I don't want to not answer it. It's that I believe that there are good people throughout this country, regardless of what state they're in.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Not to abstain. I know you wanted an answer, but
no, I did. No, yeah. So hey, sometimes it happens to where there can't be an answer, but that only means that this would be random. That you'd be like, okay, you would leave it to chance, is what you're saying. That's where I'm gonna reason it.
Like, it was another great question. Great question. You're doing. These are great. These are great.
It's fine. It's simply my job.
You're good at it. You're really good at it.
I don't believe a state should be abolished, killed, abolished, wiped out, whatever. But you hear that? Okay, I'm not saying a state or country or person or thing should be wiped off unless provoked. Anyway, next question.
That's so good.
It's a bit lighthearted one, I think. Would you rather see the world in black and white or have the voice of a little girl? Yeah, this silly one for you.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think a voice of a little girl would really match me very well. Just, in the way this is working here.
Can you do a little girl's voice? Not to tangent, but voice acting is like it's part of something you can do. Can you do it? Can you invoke?
Yes, but not right now.
Okay.
I'll wait for the role, and then I will literally send you that role, and I'll be like, "Hey, Houston, it's because of your podcast, man. I booked the little girl role, and the special thanks will be because of you."
Hell yeah, man! Give me a shout out for that. If you book a little girl role,
they'd be like, "I saw that podcast, and now I really am intrigued. Like, can he do a little girl voice, right?" So
yeah.
I'll have to work on it, but
he's a grown man. Yeah, he's not going to grow up on us, and he can do it so perfectly. We have to book him now. Yeah, we don't need to buy a little kid. They'll grow out of it. Puberty ruins everything. He can do a girl's voice perfectly. Get him in the booth yesterday.
So good, so good. That's these questions are amazing. So yeah, the other answer, black and white.
Black and white. Okay, you're not going to miss color?
Yeah, I just don't think the little girl voice would work in my day-to-day routine. I don't think, I just don't think it will work.
Okay. Okay, just because of how it looks. It'd be
Yeah.
funny, would it not? I think you make
It,
everyone around. It'd be
it, w-
hilarious, I think.
it would be hilarious. Maybe it would give me that little air of Roger Rabbit. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, especially directing or giving anyone like saying a lie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
So good.
We have to stick together and to make this movie together. We're a family. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm done.
So
That's
good.
close the door. All right. I don't know, just
Yeah,
man,
this is going to be
this
your
one
best episode
it's
ever.
okay.
This is so good.
It's going everywhere, man. It's deep.
It's everywhere.
This next thing is a scenario. Okay, so I have to kind of explain a little story here. So to paint a picture, your significant other. Let me back up. Do you have a significant other, a
I
partner?
sure do. Yep.
Okay.
My wife, Laura. Yep.
Okay. Your significant other is falling mentally ill. Sorry. They are seeing and hearing things that aren't there, and you find out that they have a distant family member who has suffered with the same type of illness, and they've struggled with it like their whole life. And then when that family member got really sick, they spent the last years of their life in a mental institution because it got so debilitating. Now, you find out that if you agree to be unhealthy for the next, like, the rest of your life, and you'll stop working out, you stop eating healthy, that your partner will start feeling more mentally healthy. So they'll get better if you decide to be like out of shape, essentially, and unhealthy. And the more like out of shape you are, the better they feel mentally. The more mentally unsound they are, the more healthy you are. There's like a proportional thing going on here. Do you decide to be unhealthy for the benefit of their mental health? As it debilitates, you're gonna have to like let yourself go more.
Oof. You ask all the tough questions on the show, don't you?
I'm sorry.
Man, the way I feel about that one, honestly, is because I love my wife so much because she has been just a part of my journey in every way that you can be. Like she's been with me through the lowest of the lows, which makes, the celebratory moments all the more special. I would do anything for her. That being said, I know her too. And I think that she would make it a conversation. She really would, because if that was something that I was choosing, she would be choosing it too, because she might not want me to be unhealthy. So it's not that I'm abstaining from the question. It's that it probably in that scenario would be a conversation that we would have between the two of us because we have fought like hell together in this life. Man, we've been through some shit and, not to harp on it, but it's like we really get each other. We're from the same little town in Virginia. We're both actors. Now she's a writer. We're partners in our production company. We're so joined at the hip, even when we're having our disagreements, because everybody does, like no relationship's perfect. I get that. But there's such a deep love for each other that I don't think that it would go without a massive conversation to really decide which way we would go with that one.
Gotcha. That sounds solid, dude. I mean, okay, so it'd be like, hey, I'll gain 50 pounds and that's it. Like, you gain, and like, we'll see where I'm at. It's like some compromise. I don't know. Like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Somewhere in the middle. And yeah.
Yeah. If there was a
Yeah.
compromise, then that's probably what we would land on, honestly, like 100%.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, hey, kudos to you. That honestly sounds very solid. Yeah, I respect the choice. And honestly, I think I would do the same thing. I don't have a significant partner right now, but I think compromise is probably the best way to go about it. Just some in the middle, in the middle.
Compromise is everything in life, right? It's everything in life, and it speaks to really any relationship, right? Whether it be your mom, your dad, your cousin, your brother, your significant other, it doesn't matter. Like compromise is key in any relationship, and it's never going to be perfect, and there will be ups and downs, and you will have disagreements. But if you can find that compromise, like that relationship will stay strong forever.
Nice, well said. Speaking of relationships,
All right.
would you rather?
You're so good at this.
Have a nemesis that always wants to see you fail? I don't know if you even have one right now. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't know about it. But a nemesis, or lose a random memory every time you sneeze. And like the worse the sneeze is, those big ones, the more important the memory will be that you're losing?
My memories are everything to me. So I would, I'd keep those. I
You
keep
take the
those.
you take the guy out to kill the
Yeah,
nemesis.
you said I'm a fourth degree black belt. I can take care of myself. It's like, what are we talking
Ooh,
about here? You know what I mean? It's like, listen, I've had challenges in my life and my career. Adversity doesn't scare me. Pressure is a privilege. I don't mind fighting for my dreams. Much of my life, I've had to fight alone in many ways. I haven't had massive amounts of support like some. So a lot of my wins do feel like they are mine and I can claim them as such. I do say that actually with the asterisks that my wife has been there the whole time as my rock, right? But you know, before I even knew her, right? It was me. It was me going after the things that I wanted. So adversity, you know, an evil nemesis, as you say, against me, it doesn't scare me, but my memories mean everything. So I would hold on to those.
dude, nice answer. Nice. And I have to ask
Great
this
question.
because this was I've been wondering this since I saw your last name. Is that actually your last name? And do you do you how was it growing up with that awesome last name? And like I don't know, it's just I does the comparison to Ivan Drago is that a good thing or a bad thing to you? Was that because I know someone has brought that up? That had to have been a thing. Yes, you're nodding your head. Yeah, the video part will come out
All the
later, but
time.
yeah, okay, okay.
All the time. So I get asked this all the time. I actually almost booked a movie with Dolph Lundgren, which would have been so cool. My
Yeah,
heritage is Sicilian, so it's pronounced Drago for me, Drago for Russian, but I don't take offense when people pronounce it the wrong way. It doesn't, because Drago is obviously the character in movies that has sustained time, right? And it's one of my favorite movies. In fact, Rocky IV is one of my favorite movies. And I love that adversity, you know. So I think in many ways, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. No, Hey, no. I had to ask. We were on fighting, and I was like, you know what? I have to ask this. His last name
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Drago. I'll pronounce now that I know there's a right way to pronounce it. I'll say Drago. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
But Drago for Rocky IV. Russian is Drago.
yeah, Drago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
in answer to your original question, though, it is my stage name, but it also is my real name. Yes, it is my life-given name. Actually, I just went to Sicily with my cousin Jonathan, and I'm working to get my birthright citizenship in Italy right now. And taking up parchment paper. I've been telling people this left and right. I'm telling you this on your podcast right now. If there is a trip that you need to take right now is the time to take it. Go back to your roots, take that trip. Because I got to be honest, Houston, going to Calasciabetta, Sicily, and the hills of Sicily, and pulling out these books with these parchment papers and seeing the name of Collegiero Drago, my great great grandfather, and literally getting to the point where like I'm going to see like, you know, where I'm from. It like brought me home, and it was so eye opening for me. So I'm very proud of my heritage. And yeah, I would never go for a stage name because I think I got a pretty good one, honestly.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. It's memorable, and yeah, you got free publicity, man, with long long train.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
and apparently you can back it up with the fourth degree black belt. So
Yes, sir.
hey, head up to
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah, actually, these are all kind of just lining up. I swear I didn't mean to do this, but this next question, this may be easy for you actually, but would you rather be the world's best fighter and the worst lover, or the world's best lover but the worst fighter?
Lover.
I think lover. Okay, okay,
Absolutely.
but even if
Absolutely.
it's even if it's at the cost of your fighting skills being gone, even if it's at that
Yes.
cost. Okay.
Yes, because I grew up in a dojo. My father is my sensei. He's an eighth degree black belt, and he's had a dojo in Front Royal, Virginia for a long time. I have three other brothers that are also martial artists. So I grew up like a Ninja Turtle, Houston, like for real. And my other brothers actually demonstrate the characteristics of the other Ninja Turtles. I mean, Michael he's always kind of been his own kind of person. He's like his independent self. Like, you know, he's, we call him the Phoenix. Like he'll rise from the ashes. Like he is Raphael. We have one that's a brainiac in our family, you know, full ride to Bennington, SAT scores perfect. That's obviously Donatello. And then we have one that's like just trying to like find himself constantly. He's lived on a boat in Alaska, right? He's like a free spirit. That's Michelangelo. And that leaves me as Leonardo, right? I've just kind of always known what I wanted and been very leader of the pack mentality and bring people together. That's who I feel like Leonardo is. So, what I learned growing up as a martial artist was very interesting is that martial arts, the way it's supposed to be practiced, not with trophies, not with people beating each other up, right, to make themselves feel good. It's a self practice. It's a practice of reflection. It's a practice of really just knowing that you could take care of yourself if you needed to, but being that peaceful warrior. People asked me growing up, because I would go to, public schools and kids would be like, like, how many fights have you gotten in? How many people have you beaten up? And my answer still to this day is the same. I've never gotten into a fight. And it's because I know how not to fight. I know how to diffuse situations because I am sure of myself. I know that in a situation, I would know how to take care of the people that I love. And I always say, the time that I would get into a fight, it wouldn't be for me. It would be because of somebody else. And then those are the only close calls I've ever had in my life was when I was defending somebody I love. So the peaceful warrior is also, it's always something that's resonated with me. And when I think about your question, that's kind of where I go with it.
That was maybe one of the best explanations for a question I've asked and answered for. That was great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was, man, dude. I have one more question.
Go for it.
And and it's open ended, so take as long as you want to answer it. But if someone had to distill you down to 3 movies, and they said like, "Hey, who are you?" and you had to give them 3 movies, what 3 movies would you give them?
Like in terms of my essence as an actor?
Yeah, it's sort of you, sort of you as a person. If you had to distill, if someone was trying, if an alien, I don't know, was trying to say who is Matt Drago, and you had to give them 3 different movies that they've never seen before, have no reference for, that kind of encapsulate who you are as a person. That does include your acting, but sort of everything about you. What 3 movies would best represent you, I guess. The closest thing I could think of to that we've done to this is there's records that we've sent into space, to kind of say who we are as people. We've sent water running, babies crying, people walking right on this golden record out in space. To kind of, if anyone finds us and they can listen to this somehow, they'll hear sounds of humanity. I think we have some jazz music on there too. You can't have anything too crazy. You can't speak a language. They probably don't speak a language that we speak. You kind of have to just make something up. If it's kind of difficult because you're choosing something that's, not of you, something that represent you. I mean, you actually can pick something with, if you pick somewhere in Montana, you're in that movie. You can, I think that's a good way to kind of put yourself out there, but also just something that represents who you are, ideals you believe in, essence of you.
You saved the biggest question for last, didn't you? You're good at this, man. This is a great show.
Thanks.
Woo! Definitely one is Fabian for Drago. He's the first character I ever fell in love with, and I think when people see this film, hopefully they see that. I took the risk to play him big, but I took the risk to play him big because I felt like I was the outsider. I felt like I was the one trying to fight for my dream. And I felt like I was the one that was playing with really big emotions, right? Because when your dream is at stake, you are willing to fight for it, right? I live in LA right now, and I love this city. And I think LA gets a lot of bad rap because of all the, red carpets and the glitz and the glamour. Dreamers are fighters. Dreamers are fighters. There are a lot of strong people in LA, legitimately hard people. They're different. They're differently hard, but they're strong. There's a lot of fight in this city. And I just had a heartbreaking loss for my Rams last night. And I football is an escape for me. And well, listen, you can laugh, but that team went through a lot of obstacles this year. I think Sean McVay is an incredible coach. A lot of those players were counted down and out. Like they're one of the youngest defenses in the league, the second to youngest one. And I love Matt Stafford. I love what he stands for. I love like his leadership. I love all of the young people in Puka and Kieran that are just playing like full out every snap. I love the leadership of like those big play, guys like Cooper Kupp and just what they bring to that team. And I felt like it would have been a very special thing. I remember growing up and 2001 really wanting the Yankees to win and crying myself to sleep as a kid because that was 9/11. And I felt like it would lift a city up. And I felt like this could have lifted the city up. But I have to also look at it as the fact that it is a game. And even though it didn't go the way that I was hoping it would, because I really wanted to go to the Super Bowl this year and cheer them on. And I wanted to give myself that because it was a moment in my life where I could kind of celebrate, that team and another team that I love in the Chiefs, like, because I think they do it the right way. And I really just respect the hell out of them, their positivity and the love that they have for the sport. But in answer to your question, like, yeah, I think teams can lift a city up. So we're going on a tangent again, I know, but that is one because of what that role meant to me. It is the first role that I genuinely fell in love with, and it will always be a part of my legacy. 2 and 3 are more difficult, and I'll put a disclaimer on them since your listeners might hear them and think what they want. The 2 and 3 for me are ever changing because they aren't roles that I have played. They are roles that I respect and love, and they are roles that have, for me, impacted my life and the way that I see it and the way that I fight for my dreams. And also the type of acting that I just love, that really gravitates towards me, even if it isn't part of my character, which leads me to number 2. Number 2 is Michael Corleone. I loved The Godfathers growing up. I think he is in a very, very, very difficult position. And I think a lot of times, like, we don't understand how brilliant Al Pacino was in that movie in how trapped he feels. And I think a lot of people feel trapped sometimes. They're in a world or a mechanism that they can't control. That is something that really gravitated to me in that character, not just the bad stuff, right? Again, I come from Sicily and possibly come from roots that extend back to mafia. I actually went to a small town in Sicily and I mentioned the name Drago to somebody that did not speak English. And at the little table that we were having espresso, the guy literally looked at John and I, my cousin, and he literally said, "What's last name? What are your last name?" And we both said Drago. And he looked at both of us and he said, "Mafia." And I was like, oh shit, because I've heard stories, but that kind of made me think maybe they're a little bit more true than not. But again, remember that in the beginning, the mafia was not a bad thing like we see it now, right? It was actually a thing about really being the government when the government couldn't help you. It was started small and then money got involved, and money fucks up everything. I don't know if I can curse on the show, but it fucks up everything, right? And I think that's when the mafia started to become something else, right? It started to become a business. It didn't become a thing where it did in the past. And so Michael Corleone, going back to those roots, going back to Sicily, is a lot of how I feel my heritage within me. Because again, one thing that I realized coming back from Sicily is that I am a product of someone else's story. And my great-grandfather literally was the youngest of 8 children, and he was the only one that boarded a boat to come to America. And that's why I'm talking to you right now. And so it's like when you think about those types of big things, you're like, wow, okay, now I understand why roles like, Michael Corleone have impacted me so deeply in my life, because we are a product of our own story. And sometimes we're a product of the world that we're living in and the times that we're living in, right? So I take all of that into account when I say Michael Corleone, not just the head of the mafia as it stands here, but all of the sum of the parts and his story within that are very impactful to me. And then the second one, we already brought it up, and the irony is it is my last name. It's Rocky. Rocky is a fighter. He's an underdog. He's somebody that's counted out. I love being counted out. I love it. It's always really fired me up. So So I will continue to be fired up. I will continue to be in the gym. I will continue to fight for my dreams. And if that means, being in a smelly boxing ring, like and working out and like whatever it is for an actor that I need to do to keep fighting for what I love and the importance of what I love in doing it is my Rocky story. And that's those are my three characters. I mean, the underdog, the character with the dilemma, and then obviously Fabian in this beautiful film that I fell in love with and has a really impactful message and story at the times.
Nice breakdown of all three of those movies. I have to ask, is it more so Rocky 1 where he's, he gets that chance to fight? Is it Rocky 2 where he gets it's Rocky 1? Okay.
It's Rocky 1 because I think in Rocky 1, there's some all or nothing in Rocky 1. It's is he going to break through on his dream, or is he essentially going to be poor, right? There's more at stake in Rocky 1. Now, I will say a very, very close second, if not a first for me, and I'm not just saying it because Ivan Drago is in Rocky 4, but I think what Rocky 4 says, honestly, in the countries coming together is actually bigger as a story. And now that I'm saying it, maybe it is more one to me because of where that story led. I right now feel like I have just maybe surpassed, hopefully, Rocky 1 in like my destiny to be able to leave a couple good stories behind, because that feels like my currency on this planet. Is if I can leave a couple impactful stories behind that make people question, that make people feel, right? To get conversations started in a meaningful way like we're having today. I feel like that is, quote unquote, why I'm here. And but when you go into that Rocky 4 mechanism, it becomes bigger. We've talked about the world today. We've talked about taking away, pain from countries today. That fight in a way is the way I look at football in a way. The sport sometimes can lift a nation up. It can lift a country up. And in Rocky 4, it showcased it in a big way. So yeah, I mean, it's the Rocky story. It's the underdog story, but it's really at the end of the day, fighting for the dream that you feel like is your best way to leave an impact in this life and in this world.
Well said. And I don't think there's a better place to end it than there, actually. Hey, listeners, thank you for listening to this episode of 1,000 Crazy Questions. And thank you, Matt, for being on. I want to hand over the spotlight to you. Is there anything that you want to plug or tell the listeners in general?
Sure. Houston, thank you, first of all, for this wonderful conversation. This has been just really awesome, and it's really great to meet you too. If you want to follow my journey, like that's pretty much all I got to wrap this up. You can find me on my socials. That's how we connect now, right? So at Matt Drago, MattDrago. From there, I've got all my link trees. I can only do so many social medias, but Instagram's where I'm active at Matt Drago. Give me a follow there. You'll be in the know on all the things that are happening, not just in my career, but in my life. I try to share personal stuff too. I got my link tree. I got my website for my acting. I've got my website for my production company. Ironically, my production company is Dragon Hunter Productions. My wife's maiden name is Hunter. So Drago and Hunter makes up Dragon Hunter Productions. And we are trying to bring a story back home to our little small town in rural Virginia, because we feel like right now, in the times that we're in, we need to give voices to the voiceless, and we need to tell stories in the little pockets of the country that feel like they need to be heard. And Somewhere in Montana does that too. So go see Somewhere in Montana. It's out in theaters now, limited release. It will be coming to more theaters soon. Eventually, it will come to VOD and streaming. So just look out for that. I will share all the updates on my Instagram at Matt Drago. And again, Houston, thank you so very much for having me on your show today. This has been just a really impactful conversation for me in my life. So thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being on. Thank you for being yourself and sharing everything that you've shared. I appreciate you. And I know I, for one, I'm going to be watching somewhere in Montana when I can, theaters especially, if I can find it. And listeners, please rate, comment, email me, Instagram, give me questions if you have any. I'll add them to the list. And yeah, rating the podcast helps a lot. Everyone share this with your friends. Everyone share this with your enemies. Everyone stay safe. Peace out.